Well, you already know that farmers and ranchers feed the world, but did you also know they also feed the animals? The San Diego Zoo uses locally grown fruits and vegetables to feed the more than 3,700 animals who reside there. As This Week in Louisiana Agriculture's Avery Davidson now shows us, even Louisiana plays a role in keeping the zoo's animals well fed.
It's here at the Forage Warehouse where you really get to see where agriculture has an impact on the animals. Joining me now, Dr. Mike Schlegel.
Welcome.
Well, I understand that you guys do a lot of work with animal nutrition here. You going to show us around in here?
Yes, we're the center for all the food that comes into the zoo and gets fed out to the animals.
Awesome. Let's go take a look. So I guess we're going to start out where it's just a little bit colder, huh?
Yeah, this is our produce cooler. As you can see, we use a wide variety of produce items, and we use the same vendor as our restaurants. So if you're a guest here at the zoo today, you'll receive many of the same items that we'll feed to the animals.
Here is where each meal is prepared for the animals. Some get as many as 5 meals a day, and they look pretty tasty with ingredients like red leaf lettuce, one of the biggest sweet potatoes I've ever seen, and mealworms. Okay, maybe that's not too tasty, but it's just like a kitchen at a 5-star restaurant. And Dr. Schlegel, as the animal nutritionist, he's like the executive chef, planning the menu for each of the 8,000 animals at the zoo and the safari park.
We're one of probably 15 zoos in North America that have full-time staff nutritionists. And what our goal is to provide foods in a variety of ways that meet the nutritional needs of the animals.
So our animals get the fresh food you would get from the grocery store or from a restaurant just as well. And again, that plays into the proper nutrition, offering them the best possible options.
It takes a lot to do so. Here's what it takes every year. $500,000 worth of fresh produce, 832 tons of pre-made feed, 80,000 pounds of meat. That's for the carnivores like this African serval. And yes, that's a mouse it's chomping on. But not all carnivores get protein from meat. Some eat crickets, which Schlegel says are notorious for being low in calcium. So he feeds the crickets food high in calcium in a practice called gut loading.
They fill their GI tract with that extra calcium, so when those crickets and mealworms are fed to birds or reptiles, they're getting that additional calcium to balance out their diet.
Let's not leave out the deliveries of fish.
See this? This is going to be sashimi for a reptile, right here.
There's also a full hay barn which sees nearly 700 tons of Bermuda grass, Sudan grass, and alfalfa passed through every year. So the San Diego Zoo is like a farm, ranch, and restaurant all in one.
Now for that Louisiana connection. Dr. Schlegel says some of the crickets, mealworms, and other insects come from Armstrong's Cricket Farm in West Monroe, Louisiana. And Mike, you know who else comes from West Monroe, Louisiana?
Well, she actually comes from the greater Calhoun area, but I guess if you're from West Monroe, maybe they can kind of annex some of that in. I have to tell you though, when we were there at the zoo watching you shoot that story, those animal feeders looked like chefs in 4-star restaurants. Some of those vegetables and some of the meals they were preparing for those animals, I hate to say it, but they looked good enough for human consumption.
That salad that they were making with that lettuce, it was like that red leaf lettuce. I could take that giant sweet potato and everything.
Yeah,
now
give me a little vinaigrette and I'm ready to go.
What's kind of cool is we were talking about the mealworms and everything. Later on in his bottom line, Neil Malonzo is going to have a story about ant larvae being on the menu.
And let me tell you, it's not as bad as you think. Avery Davidson, thanks.